Hey, welcome. I hope you guys are doing good. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's reading is what is the gossip on you? What are people saying about you? Maybe you have certain people in your mind, maybe you have a certain environment in your mind, or maybe you're just asking generally. But we will see, all right? So we have three groups for you to choose from. Group one, the citrine crystal. Group two, the fusite crystal, and group three, the clear quartz geode. All right, so group one, two, and three. Feel free to pause the video for a moment if you need some time to choose your group, but I will see you guys in your readings. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the first group, then this reading could be for you if you've chosen the citrine crystal. Okay, so what is the gossip on you at the moment? All right, so we have the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Tower also in reverse, and the Seven of Pentacles also in reverse. Okay, so what is the gossip about you? So the gossip on you is that you're settling down in some way, or that you're trying to. They say that you are making a choice and, kind of sticking to it, like no longer keeping your options open. And for some of you, it could be that they're saying it seems like you don't have many options, but you seem fine with it. You are fine with it in their perspective, that you seem fine, sticking to the option or the options that you do have, even if there aren't many. They talk about you not wanting to step out of your comfort zone, either in general or at the moment, or you're kind of just okay with, the way things are right now. So yeah, they could talk about you not wanting to drift from your current circumstances, whatever that might be. Some people do talk about you being opportunistic, but not in a bad way. Like for some of you, people say that it's like opportunistic of you to kind of stick to what you're doing now. Like maybe that will provide you the best opportunities in the future, or it's providing you the best opportunity right now. Um, but yeah, they also gossip about you not making the best decisions at times or at the moment. This isn't something that they feel is general about you. For some of you, this could be about your work and them feeling like you're not making the best decisions when it comes to your work, or there's people gossiping about your work. So some people are talking about you not having much of an imagination at the moment, that your usual creativity or your usual pizzazz just isn't really there right now. They talk about you not really trying to find your way anymore, you know, and or you not being ambitious or motivated at the moment. Like overall, like there are some people talking about you not seeming yourself, that it seems like you're giving up in their opinion, and that you don't seem as open as you were before. If it's not that, they talk about you retreating in some way. People also gossip about you not being as generous anymore. They talk about you pulling back, but at the same time, they've noticed that you have a clearer state of mind. But it doesn't feel like they talk about you having a clearer state of mind, It feels like that's something that they think, or something that they've like observed. And people do talk about you being rational about certain things in your life, or how it seems like you're more rational about certain things, whether this be work, relationship, responsibilities, something you're more aware of. But people do talk about seeing you more clearly, or wanting to see you more clearly. And people also talk about you not living in a fantasy world and not having your head in the clouds. Or they kind of mention how you don't give in to your fantasies. Like, even if it appears on the surface that you do have your head in the clouds, people talk about you that not actually being that way, whether that's true or not. Like, people talk about you not kidding yourself, not deluding yourself in some way. Like, people gossip about you maybe being realistic or trying to be realistic. Like, if you used to be quite idealistic in the past, people talk about how that seems to have changed with you. So there's also someone talking about how you have seen past theirs or someone else's manipulations or something else along those lines. They say that you don't give in to pressure, or you haven't, given into a situation that was pressuring you, whether this be recently or in general. But yeah, people gossip about you having a lot of potential. They talk about you being maybe a bit pessimistic about something. And there are people also talking about you being quite optimistic as well. So people could have, or people could just talk about you being optimistic about certain things and pessimistic about others. And like, some people do say you're optimistic about your adventures, maybe your plans, or just certain things that are important to you. But yeah, people are talking as well about you feeling disappointed, or that they generally feel that you've experienced a lot of disappointments, maybe recently or just, throughout life, or, whatever that might be. For some of you, they could talk about you experiencing disappointments in like a certain area of your life. So some people are also talking about how you've put your dreams, a goal, or your ambitions on hold for right now. Like, they could say that you kind of put that to the side for the minute. Um, they gossip about you wanting more freedom and about you trying not to feel overwhelmed. That it seems like you're trying to run away from something. And they also talk about some of the choices that you made in the past not working out for you. So some people do talk about you not having much stability at the moment. Some people, there are some people that talk about you lying to yourself about something, that you're not being honest with yourself about something. And some people talk about you not knowing how to make the changes that you need, or the changes that you want, so you're kind of settling. And some people do talk about you being stopped from finishing what you started. And some people could also talk about you not doing something else, something that could be in someone else's best interest. And finally, like some people do talk about you not making enough of an effort with something or someone, you know, or in some part of your life. So we also have sea turtle protection, and it says you are the master of finding life's flow, be in harmony with the rhythm, and your path will unfold. Persevere and you will succeed. You have everything you need to be protected and happy. So sea turtle protection, we also have you need a good cry. We have forget fear. We have clearing negativity. What does that say? Release negativity from within or around you. We also have bless your heart. Reach out for emotional and spiritual support to help heal and mend your heart. We have angel. Tap into your higher wisdom. And we also have move forward. So people could gossip about you trying to tap in, or you know, that's something that you do, whether that's like some form of reflection or you know, tapping into your higher self or just that inner wisdom that you might have. But for some of you, people could gossip about you kind of trying to be more self-reliant or trying to like kind of for some of you, people could talk about you. Let me see. No. For some of you, people could talk about you trying to understand something as well. With clearing negativity, people talk about you either needing to clear negativity or that's something that you're in the process of doing. With CETA or I don't know about protection, but there are people talking about you persevering. But in terms of you need a good cry and bless your heart, people talk about you needing like an emotional release from their perspective. Some people could talk about how you've actually reached out to someone for emotional support or some other type of support. But people do talk about you trying to move forward. For some of you, this could be moving on from something. And with forget fear, people talk about you not giving in to some of the fears that you may have had, or just not giving in to fear in general. And finally, we have casual, we have emotional, and we have straightforward. So people could gossip about you being quite laid back or casual at the moment. There's someone talking about how they want to be more emotional with you, maybe more vulnerable. And there's other people that's talking about how straightforward you are or can be. Or, you know, maybe they feel that you're being straightforward at the moment. But that is all I have for those of you who chose this group, I do hope it could be helpful and make sense. And I'm wishing you the best, okay? Take care. Bye. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the second group, the Fusite, then this reading could be for you. What is the gossip on you at the moment? So we have the Hierophant upright, the Fool upright, and we also have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so the gossip on you is that you are very stable. They talk about you being wise in regards to some things, that you love to teach, that you like to share your knowledge, maybe your experiences, stuff like that. People also talk about you being emotional and sensitive. Some people do talk about you being quite materialistic or just, quite blessed in that area. And there are some people that are talking about you not being in a community that you feel a part of, or you're just maybe struggling to find a place where you truly fit in. And they also talk about you wanting to conform in some way, or just wanting to fit in some way. And they do gossip about you being a thrill seeker, maybe a pleasure seeker. They also talk about you being quite optimistic, or they talk about a specific occasion where you were very optimistic. This could have been recently. And they do talk about you knowing a lot, just having a lot of knowledge, maybe about a lot of different things, and just you being very smart in general. People do talk about how you like interesting conversations. Some people say that you prefer deeper conversations, um, like conversations that just aren't, surface level, or, a bit shallow. Some people talk about you wanting to go back to school for some of you. They talk about you being quite social, liking social events, or that you are just very good in, different social situations. Some people do talk about you appearing quite mature, but really being quite inexperienced in some ways, or just quite youthful or immature. And, some people do gossip about you being quite sensual, maybe being a bit flirtatious. Some people do talk about you being soft and, gentle and generally quite innocent, but that you're not like a pushover, or you're not naive, that you just have like a very like sweet energy to you. So people do talk about how you love to travel and explore, that you're always looking for new experiences. Some people do talk about you starting something new. This could be, something that is coming up in the future. They do talk about you being hopeful and confident, and this could be in general. It could be, in regards to certain areas of your life. People also gossip about you being spontaneous, that some of the things that you do or say can be unexpected or out of nowhere, that you always have something new going on, or things that you're interested in. People do talk about you being hardworking. Some people actually mention you being quite competitive, or you seem competitive from their perspective. And, some people do talk about having a lot of faith in you. And, someone's talking about having a lot of confidence in you as well. So for some of you, like, people are talking about you being an entrepreneur or wanting to be one. Like people do talk a lot about you being fun, that you don't really like to stay in situations or environments or conversations or groups or something else that can be quite boring or repetitive, or like the same stuff every day. And even if you are very routine, people may talk about you not being a fan of it. They talk about how you don't want to be stifled, or you don't like feeling stifled, whether that's true or just from their perspective. But yeah, some people gossip about you winging it, not really having a plan in place. But this doesn't really feel like it's in general. It just feels like it could be about something specific. For some of you, they could say this in relation to your career or your work, or another goal or hobby that you might have. So people also gossip about you having luxury, maybe that your life is quite luxe, or certain areas of your life are maybe your possessions, maybe the places you go, the environments that you can be in, maybe your home, or the things that you are attracted to are quite beautiful and maybe luxurious in some way. Or some people talk about this being a goal of yours, something that you want. So there are some people talking about a fight or a disagreement you had with someone maybe recently, or something that you're currently experiencing with someone. And there are some people as well talking about you being estranged from some of the people in your family or some of the people you grew up with. So there are people talking about you handling your finances well. They talk about you wanting a good reputation. For some of you, please only take this if it makes sense, but for some of you, people could talk about you being um, maybe being a bit dishonest, or like some people could even mention you being corrupt in some ways, or that you're corruptible. But only take that if it makes sense. Like some people do gossip about you being willing to do things that are shady, to get what you want, even if that's not true and just their perspective. And finally, people do talk about you not thinking or not planning too far into the future. Like some people could talk about you being unpredictable, or just, certain things in your life being unpredictable, and that's why you don't really plan too far into the future. But yeah. Okay, so we also have Raven Shaman, and it says, "You are the creator and the magician. Use your gifts for good. There is power in your wisdom and your words. Connect with the elemental spirits and glide through the void. Claim your place as the keeper of mysteries." We also have "It's not your fault, it's everyone else's." On the back it says, "Stop blaming people for your stuff." We also have "You care too much." We also have "Unnecessary worries, own your divine power." So it says, "Replace the burden of worries by giving them to God for healing and solutions." And on this one, it says, "Replace codependent people pleasing with assertiveness and empowerment." We also have "Express your true feelings." And we also have "Longing is the portal to wholeness. Fine wine." And I'll do these ones after. Okay. So with it's not everyone else's fault, it's yours. There's some people or someone in particular talking about you putting the blame on someone else. And this isn't, putting the blame on someone else for, your problems or your challenges or anything like that. But this feels like you're kind of maybe pointing the finger at someone for something that they actually did. So yeah, there are certain people talking about how you're blaming someone for something that they did. So with you care too much, there is someone or some people talking about how other people or someone in particular is way too focused on you. They care way too much about you and what you're doing and stuff like that. So with color, express your true feelings. There are certain people that's talking about you not expressing your true feelings and you not always being honest and upfront about maybe what you're thinking, how you feel. So with unnecessary worries, it feels like people are talking about how it seems like you're worrying less. It seems like you're healing, that you're finding solutions to maybe certain things or problems that you had. It doesn't even have to be a problem. It could just be just finding solutions in general for stuff that you want to do, maybe a goal that you have, um, and that you have faith, or it seems like you have faith from their perspective. So with shaman, it feels like people are gossiping about you feeling a connection to your higher power or just being maybe quite spiritual or religious. And with raven, it's like a symbol of having like a lot of knowledge. So some people do talk about you having a lot of knowledge as well. I think I already said this with the last card, but people do talk about you healing. And people could also talk about you being in the process of creating something as well. And for some of you, people could gossip about you being secretive as well. So, with Own Your Divine Power, people do talk about you not being codependent, um, not being a people pleaser, and actually being quite assertive. And finally, with Fine Wine, like people do talk about some of your desires not being met yet, or there's certain things that you're still longing for, in order to feel maybe complete or to feel like your life is whole in some way. And finally, we have subservient, we have outspoken, and we have pretentious. So with subservient, it actually feels like people are talking about you being quite submissive when it comes to someone in particular, that you do like to please this person. Um, Not that you're codependent on them or anything like that, just that this particular relationship is important to you. And with outspoken, people do talk about you not necessarily being the most outspoken. And with pretentious, like some people do talk about you seeming pretentious, but it doesn't really feel like a lot of people talk about you actually being pretentious. Um, More that it's like how you can be perceived, even if it's not true. But anyways, that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I really do hope it can be helpful, and I'm wishing you the best. Okay, take care. Bye. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the second group, then this reading could be for you. what is the gossip on you? Okay, so all right, so we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, Eight of Pentacles upright, and the Strength card in reverse. Okay, so there are people talking about you lacking confidence in yourself, or them perceiving you that way, but not totally being devoid of confidence, not being totally insecure, or just lacking confidence in general. Just sometimes, or just like a little bit, like they can see that maybe that hesitation, that self-doubt, like because there are some people talking about you not trusting yourself despite you being very smart, having your head screwed on, being very self-aware, stuff like that. But people also talk about you being very witty, very funny. They talk about you being hardworking and a perfectionist, but they do mention you trying to find your footing, or at least they're perceiving you as trying to find your footing, find your way, still trying to find success or a path that makes sense for you, or still trying to achieve, certain goals. Like people do talk about you being way too hard on yourself, and you seem kind of drained and tired at the moment. But at the same time, they do mention you being very strong and determined, despite how drained and tired you might seem. And people also talk about you being goal oriented, for yourself and for other people. They talk about you being responsible, or at least trying to be responsible, trying to do the right thing. But they do talk about you being responsible in most, if not all, aspects of your life. People do talk about you being kind and generous, and people talk about you not really fitting in to a certain environment. This could be an environment that you're already a part of. Um, some people do talk about how you've been ostracized, or at least from their perspective, it looks like you're kind of being ostracized, whether this be referring to the past or a current situation. For some of you, this could be referring to like when you were younger, or something that's unfortunately still happening. So people do talk about you being, cool, very interesting, wanting to get to know you more, but people do say it's not easy to get to know you for whatever reason, whether that's different communication styles, whether that's, the environment you guys are not in, not making it easy, someone being quite reserved, or, standoffish, or just not appearing, super open, or something else along those lines, or something else you're more aware of. But, some people do perceive you as coming across quite reserved. But even still, like they do talk about you being very friendly. People also gossip about your relationship, maybe a specific relationship you have with someone you've known for quite a while. They could be talking about you having troubles in this relationship, and this could be a romantic thing, it could be a platonic relationship, but in some important or long-term relationship you've been in, people do talk about you having trouble with this person, or in this particular situation. People do talk about you improving your financials, or wanting to. They talk about you being quite patient, but also, even though you have this patient kind of energy, you still kind of seem like, some people say that you seem a bit on edge or anxious. And some people do talk about how you change often, that you aren't always the most consistent. Like people do gossip about you needing help and them wanting to offer you their help. And some people do talk about you not being very open to help, whether that's true or just their perspective. But people do talk about you being very cautious, but they also say that it seems like you have your reasons. Like they do talk about you having experienced a lot of disappointment, hurt, and challenges throughout your life. That things haven't been the easiest for you, at least from their perspective, or from what they know or think they know about you. Like people do talk about you being defensive at times, whether that's true or again just their perspective. And they also mention you being quite protective, self-protective, and protective over other people or just certain people in your life. It could be people in general, actually. I may have said this already, but people do talk about you still developing. Um, People talk about you seeking out security as well. Some people are talking about you having or potentially having a new focus, a new hobby, or a new interest. And a lot of people do talk about you being, down to earth. Some people also mention you having a natural talent for something. This could be anything, but it could be something that involves leadership. It could involve talking. It could involve advising or being analytical. It could involve movement, travel, change. I don't know, but it could be something you are more aware of. But they do talk about you having a very natural talent, when it comes to something. And people also gossip about you taking pride in the things that you do, the way that you carry yourself. And people also talk about how you like to work, that you don't really like to be bored or idle, that you don't really like to be stagnant or, let me see. Yeah. So people are also talking about you being self-taught, and whatever it is that you've taught yourself, that is very impressive. People gossip about you being impressive in general, though, to be fair. And people also say that you are very self-aware, um, from what they've noticed. So yeah. So we also have squirrel, and it says always prepared. You are the expert of hard work and hard play. You are cheerful. No, your cheerful and fun disposition is a blessing to everyone. Don't let life's distractions take you off course. Make a plan for the future, and life will give you all that you need. Quite like that one. Okay, so we have squirrel always prepared. We also have get over yourself, pull your stuff together. We have take a trip. We have ceremonies and celebration. It's a time for important life passages such as weddings, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries. We also have job, love what you do what you love. We also have make time for self-care. And we have gift of freedom. And I will do these ones in a minute. All right, so with get over yourself, pull your stuff together, people talk about you, um, being able to pull yourself together, maybe in, different situations, whether it's a tough situation, it doesn't have to be a tough situation, but it could just be in, any kind of environment, you being able to pull your stuff together. But some people do talk about you having your stuff together in general, even though they kind of perceive you as not having confidence in that, but they see you as actually having your stuff together. With take a trip, some like for some of you, people could be gossiping about a trip that you're planning on taking, or just a new journey that you're planning on taking, like a new endeavor or something like that. With gift of freedom, people do gossip about you seeking freedom in certain areas of your life, or in general, that you are trying to break away from some of your attachments. Like some people could actually gossip about you trying to break away from someone in particular, or maybe a group of people. So it does seem like there are certain people talking about you being on this new journey, this new, with ceremonies and celebrations, like this new life passage, kind of doing something or on a path, or on a journey that is important to you. Some people could even talk about you having found your purpose, and you kind of just being focused on that and moving forward with that. So with squirrel always prepared, people do talk about you having what you need to, make something work, to fulfill a goal, to fulfill a journey or a plan that you have. People do talk about the plan that you have for your future, or it just seems like you have a plan in place for your future, even if they don't know the details of it. People do talk about certain things in life having distracted you, whether this is related to the past, or um, something that's happening at the moment. But they do talk about how they hope it doesn't throw you off course, or that it hasn't, or you haven't allowed certain things to throw you off course, even if it does cause a bit of chaos for a minute. Like they do talk about you always finding your way back to whatever it is that you need to do or want to do. And people do talk about you having a lovely disposition to you, like maybe a beautiful aura to you as well. And, we said this earlier, but people also talk about you being very hardworking. But people do also talk about you maybe needing time to take care of yourself, to have fun, as much as, you work hard. They could talk about like a lack of balance in the hard work, and being able to like chill and have fun. So with job, love what you do. I think I said this earlier as well. Like people do talk about you loving what you do, whether that's related to your work, certain responsibilities that you have. But people talk about you genuinely loving something that you do. And finally, with make time for self-care. So people actually talk about you not really having the time for much self-care, like not really having the time to kind of maybe pamper yourself, or to put yourself first truly, in a way that's not related to like work or anything like that, or responsibilities. They don't say stuff like you need to focus on self-care or anything like that, but just that it seems like you don't really have the time from their perspective. We also have crazy, no, sorry, chatty. We have crazy and nice. So people do gossip about you being quite chatty with certain people. People gossip about you, not you being crazy, but just some of your life experiences may have been quite crazy from their perspective, whether that's true or not. Some of the things you've been through are quite, crazy. And with nice, like people do talk about you being quite nice in general, really. And yeah, so that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I really do hope it could be helpful or make sense. I don't know, but I'm wishing you guys the best. All right, take care. Bye.